How's everybody doing today? We are jumping into Privada Cigar Club, a sweet little project that Brian Denson sent us, and let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so Brian sent us two Paul Stalics. It's a blend that he's been working on, and I guess it's blend number 26 and 25. He's got it for us to smoke in a certain order. Number 26 is going to be first, which is his Broadleaf, and then 25 is the San Andreas. And doesn't give us a ton of information except for that it's Nicaraguan binder and filler and Connecticut broadleaf wrapper on number 26. So I'm not going to read the tasting notes, but let's go ahead and let's jump into it with a cut and a light. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same cut and light it with the same lighter for both the cigars to try to keep it as even as possible. Alright, so right on the first light you get a dark, rich earthiness, you get a dark chocolate note, and you're also getting a little bit of that red pepper spice. And through the retrohale, it kind of adds a little bit of that dark plum sweetness, like a dark fruity type sherry type sweetness. It's really nice. It's very unique. It's got a perfect draw. Construction looks all right. The cap's kind of a little bit crazy, but that wrapper is just absolutely beautiful. So let's go and let this thing get heated up. We'll get into the first third and we'll come back and let you know exactly what it's doing. Alright, so we're about 10 minutes in right now, and the flavor profile is actually a really complex cigar. It's still got the dark chocolate, it's still got the dark earthy notes, it's still got some of that dark fruity type note in there. It's also a rich, kind of a worn leather, kind of that, yeah, just a rich leather profile. And there's also this really odd, zesty, lemon lime type flavor going on in there. Now, as far as the performance of this cigar, it's been pretty good. Now, my expectations have been set at a certain bar just because this is such a new company. And I've already had to touch it up once, a pretty big touch up actually, but it's not too big of a deal to me because, as you can tell, the mascara line on here is really, really thick, and that tells me two things: that this is definitely a very thick wrapper, and number two is that it is a young cigar. It hasn't been aged after it's been rolled for a very long time. Now, I've had this for about 2 weeks now, and I mean, the humidity and all that kind of stuff is perfect inside of it, just like everything else. But the burn's been decent because of that. Now, the draw's been great. The actual smoke production of it has been awesome. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this cigar. So we'll get past the first third. We'll get into the second third. We'll see if it changes any. But right now, the profile is definitely an afternoon cigar. It is a full-bodied, full-flavored cigar. It's got the spice in there, absolutely. That's one of the main flavors. That is the lingering flavor along with the leather. And if I were to pair this with anything, you could actually probably have it with a dark coffee, and it'd probably tamp down on those spice notes a lot. Or you could go with something, I would suggest a bourbon. And first thing that comes to mind to me is Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, because it is a high octane, high proof bourbon, but it's got a lot of those dark, rich tobacco and leather and dark chocolate notes to it. And I think the cigar would, I'm pretty sure that the cigar would hold up to that big of a bourbon. But we get to the second third and see what we think. All right, so we're about halfway through this cigar, right in the middle of the second third, and the main difference so far is that the the spice has turned into more of a flavor and not really a heat on the palate. The dark chocolate is still in there, and the leather is still in there. The sweetness is still there, but it's not like that dark fruity sweetness anymore. It's more of just a generic, just a generic sweetness in there right now. But the burn has been really great. The burn line, the mascara line, has actually gotten surprisingly really thin. I've done one more touch up, and you guys saw how long that the ash stayed on there. The construction has been amazing on this. As far as the pairing goes, since that spice is out of there, and it seems like the body has gotten richer and darker, but the flavor profile is not it's not in your face anymore. So I would still go with a bourbon most likely. I'd probably go something that's going to be a little bit lighter than the Elijah Craig, which is pretty much up there with Stag and all that. I'd probably go with the Wild Turkey Rare Breed. This is not the release that's out right now, but I think this is one that would go the best. This is the 112.8 proof. And that stuff is like a liquid Heath bar. I mean, it's amazing. It's got the dark caramels in there. It's got the dark chocolate in there. It's got a little bit of cinnamon spice to it. So it'll kind of play along with those notes that you're getting in the cigar right now. Even another great option if you are a bourbon hunter and you can find it, the Parker's Heritage Heavy Char. I tried that this weekend at the Great American Whiskey Festival, and that is an amazing rye. It's not too spicy, but that Heavy Char gives a lot of dark caramel oaky notes to it, and that would actually pair really well with this too if you can find it. I don't have a bottle myself, but trying it this weekend was definitely an eye-opener to the Parker's Heritage collection. We'll keep going with this. We'll get into the final third with some final thoughts after I get done with this. I'm not sure if I'm going to include it into this review. Maybe not. But we will be moving on to the 25, which is the same blend with the Mexican San Andreas wrapper on it instead of the Connecticut Broadleaf. The look is a little bit different. Now it's the same size and apparently the same binder and filler. But we'll see how that is also. So, see you in a second. Alright, so final thoughts on this cigar. First of all, the first and the second third, I think, knocked it out of the park. The final third, the complexity, the flavor profile is kind of leaning just more towards the darker side. Not saying it's bad. I still think it's a really good cigar. But right now, you're getting the dark earthiness, you're getting the leather. There is no sweetness left in the cigar at all. You're getting like this salty, briny note to it. And you also get, it sounds counterintuitive, but a real smoky finish on the cigar. Burn still being great. The mouthfeel is insanely oily on it. The spice is pretty much gone. And maybe there is a twinge of the chocolate left, but nothing that's really in your face. With the final third, I'm thinking still staying in the bourbon profile as far as the pairing would go. The Old Forester 1920 comes in at 115 proof. It gives you, it's an unchill filtered whiskey, so you get all the nice oily mouthfeel and everything from it. But it has that nice smoke characteristic to it. It's got a lot of caramel notes in it. It's going to bring back that sweetness, and I think that'll balance the profile of this final third off a lot. So overall, I think it's a great cigar. I'll check out the 25 next from Paul Stalic. And I just want to say thanks to Brian at Privada for giving all of his members the chance to be able to try this out. And for Paul Stalic, we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to have a say in your company. I think that's an amazing way to do it. As far as I know, it's the first company ever to help, or first company ever to ask for their consumers' help in picking a blend, which is probably one of the best things you could do as a cigar maker. So, all right guys, like I promised, the giveaway is right now. Thank you guys for hanging in there. I know I haven't been here in a while. Life just gets in the way, but the winner, how I'm picking the winner is I went to random.org and that picked out a random number. So whatever number comment it is, you are the winner. And it's comment number 1. Dominic, you are the winner. I'm going to leave a comment down below and I'm going to tag you in it. I will give you my email. I'll put it right up here. So you can email me and send me your address so I can get that shipped out to you. Should take around 5 business days or so if you're in the US. Thanks for your support. I know you've watched all the videos too. That's great, and I appreciate that a lot. Guys, I'll see you next time. I appreciate it. Thank you.